everyone, thank you for joining me for another Crafter's Toolbox. It's Nicole here at Pixel Maven's Retreat, and I'm glad you're joining me for the last project with our SVG files and Distress Oxide blends for Halloween. So this one is not so much a blend as it is a technique about doing the moon and getting some overlaid color as well as the dark night sky. So we're just going to jump into this one without too much fanfare. So just like the previous one with the moon and the tree, I had to cut out a circle of masking paper with my Hero Arts Infinity circles and my Gina K masking magic masking paper. And this is super thin paper that has an adhesive on the back, so it will work perfect for masking, and it doesn't leave any telltale signs of masking like a line or anything around the edge where you just can't quite seem to get the ink in place, which is why I like using this because it's super thin. So I created a circle that was kind of an appropriate size with the bats and everything else going on. I didn't want anything too overpowering, but I definitely wanted a moon in there. And I wanted to make this moon a little less bright than the one in the with the tree. So I decided to start with antique linen, which is a super, super light kind of beige color. And just get this in place with a circle here. And I really don't need a lot at this point. I'm really just kind of marking out where the moon is going to be and get that base color underneath. So this can go right in place and then I don't have to worry about it. But you see how if I bring in my overlay, I just need to check and make sure that I'm not going to jump into this little border around here. So I may actually want to bring my moon in just a little lower and give myself just a little bit more room to work with. So if I do that, then I can bring it a little bit in and a little bit down. And if I put my overlay over the top, then I feel like I have a little bit more space on the side. So it's really good to use your overlay as you go. So now that I have that in place, I can go ahead and put on my masking paper. And again, I'm just going to go over into the corner here and give this a good rub because it is going on some ink that's just still a little wet. All right, so I'm just going to double check one more time with my overlay to make sure that's where I want it. Because once I put the black on and everything, there is no going back on this guy. All right, so that seems to be in a pretty good place. So really the next step is to put black all over this thing. So I'll drop down into my black soot here and just get a good layer all over. So there really isn't too much blending to this technique. Like I said, this is more just about knowing how you can use your distress oxides to make cool backgrounds and to add to your background scenes. So don't be afraid to experiment with different shapes and things like that when you're working in your projects. If you're doing maybe something geometric, it's super fun to add in some masking to have a really cool effect. So it's kind of like stenciling, right? So you can add stencils and use those with your distress oxides. Why not put something in place and then go ahead and use some masking paper to mask off an area so that way you can keep it nice and clean and pristine. All right, so really I was just using the black here to get this, basically turn this into a black piece of cardstock, right? So let me just go over these edges one more time to make sure that I'm covered really well. So now I have this whole night sky going on here. And that will basically do it for the masking part. So I'm not going to use any more black soot, I don't think. I might just use this to blend in if I need to, but I shouldn't need any more ink. Okay, so I can go ahead and pull my mask off. I have a beautiful moon. I love the look of this moon as more of kind of a harvest golden moon versus that huge bright orange orb that we had in the last one. It's a completely different look. So I'm going to add in some fossilized amber just to give it dimension like I did in the previous one. And it's really just a couple of swipes Nothing super major, but like so. To just kind of make that moon stand out a little bit more. And then this is where the craziness comes in. We're going to go into some iced spruce here. Now the iced spruce is going to come up and around on the moon and into the moon itself to be like clouds. So I just need to get this inked up really well. I'm just going to start doing little twisty movements. Like so. You see how that looks kind of like a cloud coming across? Then we can bring another one up here. And now that I've done the sample, I really have a better idea of how to make this look good. And this little twisty motion is key. So what's happening here is that you're still getting the moon shining up underneath it. I don't want this to be solid. Otherwise, it's just going to look like you have these weird gray stripes through your project. But if we do this, then it looks like the moon is shining through these kind of gray, funky clouds. And you don't want to leave a circle like that. You want to make sure that you've got some blend in place and that it looks nice and soft when you're done. So as you're softening these, you're lightening up your touch just to get it to blend in with the black. Now here's the cool part. Except for here, you can fix any of this by going over it with the black soot. So if you have an area where you decided, that's a little too much, or I don't like the way that blended, you can just grab your black soot and blend it out and add in some black soot if you need to. So you can see how adding that over just kind of helps blend that whole idea of clouds coming across the moon. There we go. And then you can still come back in with more of the gray color if you need to. All right. So now I have this really cool moon. It looks a little different than this one, but no big deal. And I've got my overlay here. So to finish this off, I'm going to go ahead and add some spatter. So let me move my ink pads out of the way. And we're just going to use some of the Black Soot Distress Spray Stain. And pop some spatter over this. There we go. Well, that wraps up our series on the Halloween Distress Oxide blends and the SVG file release. I will be coming back at you soon with some new SVG files, so be on the lookout for those. And in the meantime, if you're creating with these blends or with the files, please don't forget to hashtag PM Retreat, because I love to see what you create and I love to share that with my audience too. I'll be back at you with some more videos soon, but until next time, happy crafting.